The Silver Awakening, a Pr1nces 355 transformation story in a quiet chamber filled with soft, cascading white curtains. The sunlight of late afternoon bathed everything in gentle gold. The room was peaceful, almost as still like the world was holding its breath for something unseen, something ancient to stir once more. At the center stood Arya, a 19-year-old girl whose life had always felt a step out of sync. She had grown up surrounded by ordinary things, school, street noise, daily chores, but deep within, a quiet voice always whispered, "You're meant for more." She couldn't explain it, not to her parents, not to friends, not even to herself, but she knew something slept inside her. Today, the silence in the room wasn't empty, was expectant. A soft wind moved without a source. The curtains swayed, though the windows were closed. Arya looked up from the journal she was scribbling in, her pen stilling in her hand. Her eyes met the year before her routine was forming, a mist, perhaps. Teen, Noah shimmer. It started at her shoulders. Brilliant, white light, soft as moonlight, warm as summer sparkled to life above her skin. Arya gasped, but didn't step back. It didn't frighten her. It welcomed her. "Okay?" The light spiraled across her chest and down her arms, forming patterns like frost on glass, blooming into elegant shapes. "Okay?" The heat pulsed with each heartbeat, growing with her breath. Her plain clothes dissolved in a glow, replaced by layers of silver threads that wove themselves mid-earth delicate, glittering, alive. From the mist of light emerged a gown. It wasn't sewn. It was summoned. It's wrapped around her like it had waited centuries to be worn again. Long, silver, and beaded, reed gem catching the light like stars had fallen into fabric. The hem brushed the floor, and a subtle train followed her slightest movement. Gloves spun next, silver and ethereal, sliding gracefully up her arms, stopping just above the biceps. "Okay." They pulsed softly, like they held their own quiet magic. "Okay." Her hands tingled, no longer just human hands, but vessels of something greater. And then, the crown. A headpiece of woven crystal and starlight settled atop her head. It rested perfectly, as though carved for her and her alone. Her reflection appeared in the full-length mirror across the room, and even she couldn't look away. She no longer saw Arya the dreamer. She saw the prince. But this was not the fairy tale princess locked in a tower, waiting to be saved. This was the kind of princess that kingdoms were built around, the kind whose voice could shake empires and heal hearts in equal measure. The music came next, not from speakers, but from the air itself. Chimes, faint harps, the whisper of stars colliding in ancient rhythm. It filled the room with the feeling of sunrise, new, radiant, eternal. Arya took a step forward. Light rippled beneath her feet as though the ground had become a living reflection of the cosmos. Each step awakened more of the room. The white curtains began to billow and glow, revealing symbols hidden in their fabrics, sigils, memories, stories written in light. And in that moment, she remembered something she never knew she forgot. Vision, a throne made of light and crystal. A voice echoing in another tongue. The true heir awakens when the world forgets her name. Arya closed her eyes, and the visions flooded her mind. She saw past lives, past worlds, a line of queens and warriors, of healers and rulers, each carrying the same fire now burning in her chest. She hadn't been chosen by the magic, she was its source. Her ancestors had hidden her here, in plain sight, until it was time. Until she was ready. Suddenly, the transformation slowed. The light faded slightly, leaving her standing in the full grace of her new form. She turned to the mirror again. Her eyes were the same, but brighter, bolder, brimming with ancient memory and newfound purpose. Just then, the door behind her creaked. Her younger brother peeked in, expecting to find his sister studying or drawing. But what he saw made him freeze. His eyes widened. "Sis, is that you?" he whispered. Arya smiled a kind, confident, knowing smile. "Still me," she said gently, her voice now layered with power. "But it's time the world sees who I really am." She reached out her hand. Brother stepped forward, unsure, until her fingers closed around his. "Okay." The warmth passed into him like a spark, and he gasped softly. "I remember," he whispered, "from the stories. The silver light. You're the one." She nodded. "And now we rise." As she stepped out of the room, the world outside shifted. The sky gleamed with an unfamiliar hue, like the light had been turned up, the clouds painted with pearl. Birds paused mid-flight, sensing the change. Flowers turned toward her as though magnetized by her presence. She wasn't hidden anymore. The princess had returned, and nothing would be the same again.